Hello, and welcome to Handled Ish Productivity for the Imperfect, a weekly podcast for those who want to elevate their productivity but are not looking for perfection. I'm your host, Betsy Hayes, and I'm really happy you're here. Whether you're listening on your favorite podcast app, or watching on YouTube, or watching on the KC24 CBS 47 Plus app, which you can download on your smart television, it's just really lovely to spend this time together. This is episode 88, Make a Not For Me list. And I've been reading and thinking about this idea in several different ways. And I was reading a recent Substack by Daniel Raith. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's Wraith. And her column was talking about, really like her Substack, recommend it, by the way. And she was talking about, things that can help us get clarity on our life, which, as you know, is totally up my alley. Um, and she talked about making a no list of things that drain your energy, which I love. And I kind of thought I would share sort of my interpretation about that idea. And that's this idea of making a not for me list. And the idea of making a not for me list just really feels just sort of empowering. I really liked the language because you're just deciding what is not for you anymore. And, when we talk about productivity, it obviously always comes back to we have a finite amount of time and energy, and we want to make sure that we are using that on things that are making us feel good about the way we spend our time, which is the way I define productivity. So if we think about making a not for me list, that can really help you be a filter for how we spend that time. So several ways to think about this. The first thing is you could, again, just start a list, not for me, and write down all the things that you know definitively are not for you right now. Just a funny, silly example. I was watching the Virginia Florida State football game on Friday night, and Virginia won. It was a big deal because Florida was ranked high and Virginia was not. And all of the students flooded the field after the game. I mean, we're talking like it was like they were shot out of a cannon, and in about 4 seconds, the entire bottom of the field was full of humans, and they looked like they were having fun. But I remember thinking to myself, oh my gosh, that is not for me. That is just not something that I would enjoy. I think I would feel claustrophobic. I'd worry, anyway, it was just one of those things I had a physical, visceral reaction to. And it made me kind of think about, well, what other stuff is not for me? I love college football. Going to games is for me. Watching games is for me, but storming the field, definitely not for me. And we all have those things, right? We all have, some folks don't like to, go to maybe you don't like to go to amusement parks. Fine, that's on your not for me list. Maybe you don't like to go to really large parties. That's not for you. Or maybe you don't like really small parties. You like things to be a little bit larger and more people to talk to. So think about what is definitively not for you, right? You can think about it in several different categories. You can think about it in events. What events are just not for you? What type of volunteer work activities are not for you? What type of celebration activities are not for you? Some people hate surprises. Some people love them, but that's the list for next week. So, if you don't like surprises for your birthday or whatever, that goes on your not for me list. So, what kind of events, what kind of experiences, again, the things that we do have autonomy over at work and we can say no to if we want, maybe there's some things that are, on your not for me list as far as that's concerned, right? It, could certainly be food. This is not for me. I just decide, for me, not peas, not for me. I'm pretty sure that so many people love them. I have people in my family who think I'm wild and crazy for not liking them, but not for me. I'm just not going to try anymore with peas. So, what kind of foods just not for you? What kind of clothing not for you? What kind of, temperature, right? You're just not going to go to an event if it's over X degrees or under X degrees, right? And really, I encourage you to have fun with this, to just think about, at this stage of my life, nope, these things are not something that I enjoy. These are things not that I'm not going to seek out. These are things that I just don't want to do. And the reason this is kind of fun is because, again, it acts as a filter. If you are definitively not going to do any of those things, it frees up all of the other opportunities to do things that you truly, truly enjoy and would bring value to your life. So that's step one. Think about, and I'm sure there's more categories that you can think of about how you can list, the not for me's. It could be television shows, right? It's Halloween time, perhaps horror flicks, not for you, right? Put those on the list. Perhaps musicals, not for you. Perhaps movies that are, made before 2000, not for you, or whatever. It could be music, right? There's certain types of music that I do not like, and they are on the not for me list, right? So maybe it's, again, just have fun. Think of all the different categories that you can be like, nope, not for me, not for me, not for me. And again, when I think about this for myself, it feels very empowering. It's like, you know what? Yes, I am making these choices about these things that are not for me anymore. That doesn't mean that at one point in my life they or it doesn't mean that it's always been not for me, but it doesn't matter, right? If it's something you enjoyed before and you don't enjoy now, it's totally fine. We change and evolve. It's literally one of the reasons we're here on this planet. So whatever is speaking to you right now, as far as your not for me list. And then the second thing that I would encourage is to really be cognizant of things that you are experiencing, encountering from now on. And, kind of what Danielle was talking about in her Substack, what does drain your energy? If you have an experience and you end and you're depleted or you're frustrated or you're unhappy, let's pay attention to that and figure out what about that is just not for you. And maybe it's something you can just avoid completely. Maybe it's something that you need to do something differently in order to make that situation better for you. Maybe you need to be there for a shorter period of time. Sometimes that happens, right? There are certain people and experiences that are absolutely lovely for a short period of time, not as lovely for a longer period of time, right? So if it's not for you in its current form, and you don't want to, just throw it out completely, what are some of the things we can do to adjust? And a lot of times that time frame is a little bit different. Sometimes it's adjusting our expectations, or maybe doing a little bit more pre-planning ahead of time as far as, maybe it's a goal that we, didn't accomplish. How could we do that differently? But pay attention to the things that you experience and then you don't have a good feeling or thought, or your energy is drained, or it just wasn't fun for you. Think about, should that go on your not for me list? Or is that something that you can adjust in order to make it for you? I think that's an important conversation to have to yourself. And, this obviously can be experiences. Oh, people. That's something that is a little bit funny to think about putting on a not for me list. But maybe, there's people that you want to spend less time with, or you want to spend no time with. With few exceptions, right? It's probably going to be okay. So, be honest with yourself about who you really value the time that you spend with them. So pay attention to things moving forward and think about what else needs to go on that not for me list. The more clear we are about what is on that not for me list, the more we can clear the way for the yes for me list, which is something we'll talk about next week. But this week, I just want to challenge you to spend some time with this. Think about, what do you know for sure? And that's such a fun thing. And then as you go along throughout your week, what should be added to that list, or what at least should be contemplated? Because maybe it's not for you. Maybe it was, but maybe it's not for you anymore. So that's my thought. That's my challenge as we go throughout this week. Build that not for me list. Figure out if this is something that you would enjoy making. I'm curious if you've ever thought about making a not for me list, or if you choose to do this exercise, how does it go for you? Was it helpful? Did it make your life happier? I've been making a mental list since I started thinking about this. I haven't written it down yet, but Got a lot of things on there and it feels really good. It's like, yeah, nope, nope, not for me. Pretty pumped about it. So I hope that you also find value in this particular exercise. So yeah. So until next time, have the most amazing week. And please let me know what you're thinking at Betsy Hayes on all socials, BetsyHays. My website is betsyahays.com. And yeah, would love to hear what you think. All right. Well, take care and remember, you are doing way better than you think you are. Trust me.